people like you find time and join these sessions, because we know that these sessions are important. And in as much as we have been busy, we have created time to at least be part of this training. So with that regard, I do appreciate that, and we acknowledge that. And on behalf of Capable, we warmly welcome you to these free CPD webinars. And we will also continually give you CPD certifications for all these sessions that you attend. So if you know of any other professionals who are not aware, maybe they are your friends, they are not aware of this program, always share the link to them so that they can join and get the CPD certifications weekly from these NITA accredited programs from Capable. My name is Simon Mwachi, and I'll be your host for today. So without wasting time, I don't know if Arena you are ready. You can make a maybe say a little introduction about yourself, your profile, and then you can take over the session as I continue to monitor those registering in so that I make it easier for them to join us. Karibu sana Arena.
Good afternoon, delegates. My names are as presented on the screen. I'm Abdushakur Arena Jamwa. I'm currently working as an ICT expert. My areas of interest include cybersecurity. Basically on I play both sides. I'm based on the offensive, and I'm also based on the defensive side. But on a good day, I play defensive. Basically, what I mean by defensive is to provide matrices that you will use to mitigate and limit security incidences that are part and parcel of your organization or what you do on a day-to-day basis. With so much ado, I would like to begin the session. I'll make it as much as simpler as possible, whereby we'll be looking at mobile device security and endpoint management strategy. This basically caters for us being protected on the front of the tools that we use. By virtue of this, is that we are looking at how an organization, from an organization's perspective, or from a personal perspective, you'll be able to secure your respective devices. And it is something worth noting is that we are more and more embracing the culture of remote working, which now brings down the traditional barriers that used to limit a worker on a day-to-day basis. And this also opens up a network to other vulnerabilities. In that now, for example, somebody does not have to come to work or does not have to check into a physical office to work. In areas in developed economies, we find that people have been given the option whereby you're told you can work from home or from any remote location. We've seen so many jobs are now being advertised whereby the employees are looking for people who would work comfortably from their homes. And it is in this basis that they'll facilitate even some of their requests. So with that, we need to appreciate the aspect of mobile device security and endpoint management. With that, we look at it from this perspective whereby as a user, what do I need to put in place to protect myself? And what does the company need to put in place to protect itself from various attacks? So with this, we are going to look at this, we are going to take this tutorial. And I believe it is through this that we'll be able to understand the intricacies that fall around this sensitive topic. Without so much being taken out of context, we are looking at mobile security refers to the practices and measures used to protect mobile devices from security threats such as malware, phishing attacks, and data breaches. All these three and more happen on a day-to-day basis, whereby we are working, we interact with our network, some of us connect remotely, and so many other aspects. But one thing that we have not anticipated is that this change has created a different uh, uh, challenge for traditional ICT practitioners, because now they are forced to adapt to a new change whereby or their workers will tell you, today I wish to work from home, and I wish to access the corporate network from the location that I am in. So what does this entail? It means that some of us will be using provided mechanisms whereby we are able to connect to the corporate network, access the internal network, but it also needs that we put in place measures that are very solid to protect both sides of the end, whereby we see that one critical aspect of mobile device security is implementing strong password policies and authentication methods such as multi-factor authentication. Hereby, we are looking at having a very strong password which does not cannot be easily guessed. By easily guessed, somebody can look at it and say, person A, B, C, D might be using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, or might be using the model of their car or the name of their spouse or a pet for that matter. And what mechanisms are there to ensure that the person who is actually accessing this service is actually the person purporting to be. So we need to put in place a very strong password policies that will ensure, which in this case, I want to challenge us, all of us, is to find a way to make our passwords very unique, whereby we combine capital letters, small letters, numericals, and special characters. It is in this light that it makes the life of the person who is trying to attack your account very difficult. And a strong password, if it's well put in place, it will take a very long time to break. Also, how do we authenticate our users? Are we just giving them just that one line of confirming that this person is actually the person that they are saying to be? Or are we giving them extra layers which they need to confirm their identity? That is what we mean by multi-factor authentication. It is there are tools or mechanisms that you put in place that will be able to confirm and reconfirm that the person who is trying to access that service or is trying to use that or enter into your network is actually the person they are purporting to be. We also need to look at the challenges around what we use today. We find a majority of us are still using outdated operating systems. Basically, you'll find that somebody has not updated their operating system. The danger of this is that an outdated system basically has very many loopholes that somebody might exploit, whereby somebody might even be able to piggyback into your network and or into your device and infect it using various kinds of malware. We've heard of ransomware, we've heard of zero-day threats, just to mention but a few. So the one thing that needs to be done in this case is regularly updating the operating system and install applications also is also essential for mobile device security. Here we also look at it is something that we usually think or take very lightly. It is important to put in place an antivirus or anti-malware system on your mobile device. It also limits your device from being attacked. Mobile device security involves also the monitoring and managing access to network resources. What's the problem? Hello? Sorry for that inconvenience. We're also looking at the mobile device security involves monitoring and managing access to network resources, including setting up role-based access control and implementing data encryption, whereby we are looking at the device needs to be set up in such a way that it can only access given resources, whereby if I'm in finance, I'm able just to access the things that are related from the finance department, not any other, not unless it has been authorized by the relevant uh, offices or the relevant authorities. The other thing is that we need to put in place data encryption, which protects our data from people who are not supposed to see it. In that we put it measures that are solid enough to protect our data from people who might be unauthorized to view it. So when we go back to role-based access control, is that what are your roles as an accountant? Am I just supposed to do what do you call it? Do I do expenses? Do I do inventory? Do I do assets? Do I do fixed? Do I do revenue or income? You have to be meticulous in what your roles are, because if you find a case whereby the roles are cross-cutting, it is easy for somebody to manipulate this in favor of their intentions. The other issue is that we need also to put in place antivirus software and firewalls can be a very important deterrent to malware and unauthorized access to your mobile device. By this, we put in place mechanisms which actually filter or control access into your device, whereby we have an antivirus software. This, in basic terms, it's not a silver bullet, but it also limits the dangers that are experienced on devices, whereby it scans your device for malware. In most cases, it will eradicate it. In other cases, it will quarantine it, and also it checks for irregular activities that might be initiated on your device. The other issue is that mobile device security also involves educating users, like in the case of what we are doing, whereby we educate our users on best practices for safe mobile device usage, such as avoiding suspicious links, downloading apps from trusted sources. We find that most of us, when we have phones that are not compatible, we will look for alternate applications that function that like the application that you want to use to download into your device. This creates a wide range of dangers, which are, if we were to expound on them, can even not temporarily but permanently damage your device. For example, I want an application that I can, but my my device is is outdated. It's no longer supported. If I try to download that device or that application, I'm told that my operating system or my device is not supported. The next logical thing for me to do is to look for an alternate source whereby I can get the same application and put it on my device. The danger of this is that you have no surety that the application you are downloading is clean. By clean is that it does not have malware or any suspicious applications or threads uh, input into it. This is whereby if we get a scenario whereby somebody has gotten such an application, let's say, for example, I'm not able to get WhatsApp on my device, but I go to Google and say, how can I get, let's say, a WhatsApp for this version? I'll be told you can download this and it will serve at the same case. The danger of this is that you'll find that that outdated software has been already been infected, and somebody or some people have already exploited its function. So it is easy for somebody to control your device and also steal from you. That's why it is important that every time there are these calls for this CPC, this training, we make sure we attend and we get something, and we also tell a friend to tell a friend to come and gain something out of it. So the other thing that we are promoting is that we need to download applications only from trusted sources. In this case, whereby we are told, if you are using an Android phone, you are told to go to Google Store. If you are using an Apple device, you are also told to go, you are recommended to get your application from the Apple Store. The other thing is also we need to promote a culture of regularly backing up our data on our devices, so that in the event that we have a device failure or loss, we are able to prevent data loss. In this case, whereby we are all aware of cases whereby your phone decides not to just power on one day, and it has so much of information inside there. It is a good custom that you try your best to have a secondary storage or a backup site or a backup device that can cover you in the case of failure. Losing the device is not the issue, but the content is what is really painful, because you can imagine maybe you have pictures inside there, which you have your memories inside. You can have your telephone numbers. You can imagine a case whereby you have lost all your telephone numbers. What somebody has to go through, because you have to also build upon the numbers that you lost. In an overall comprehensive approach, mobile device security is essential for protecting both personal and organizational data from security threats. Now we go to the gist of the story, whereby that it is just a continuation of what we've just talked about, whereby we are looking at endpoint management strategy. You need to put in place measures that protect your organization or yourself from threats. It involves a combination of tools, policies, and procedures, whereby tools we have certain mechanisms that we put in place that will support how those devices are managed. You also need policies. What are your policies on passwords? What are your policies on remote access? What are your policies on different things that regard devices that are accessing your network. The other thing is that to look at the procedures needed to be put in place. In a continuation of what we just did a few minutes ago, we have been told that it is important for software updates and patches to be updated on a regular basis. You might see it as very tiresome. You might see it as a very tedious exercise. But at the end of the day, this patching and regular updating of your devices reduces the vulnerabilities and the risks that are involved with that device. These measures ensure a safe working environment for both on premises, whereby when you say on premises, where people are still going to the regular offices, and for remote office workers, whereby we have people who are working outside the office. For example, you'll find that you'll want this your FO or your chief financial officer will want to approve a payment voucher. It needs to be done within a secure environment. Okay, whereby we have to pay salaries, whereby somebody has to go into a particular site. Let's say it's a banking site. What parameters have been put in place to secure that activity taking place? We've also talked about enforcing strong passwords and policies and authentication methods, which will limit these threats. We have also discussed about multi-factor authentication, complex passwords, but we've not talked about the expiration and research policy, whereby we look at a network and what policies do we have on our password? How long does somebody need to retain a password? How long does one need to reset a password? All those things need to be put in place. The other thing is that we need to enforce monitoring and managing, as we had discussed earlier, network access to network resources by setting up role-based access controls. By this role-based, as I said earlier, is that what are we putting in place? What rights does somebody have in performing a given task? Are they able to raise a voucher and also approve that voucher? Are they able to do even pay that voucher, the same person? We need to put in place controls. If I'm able to raise a voucher, I should not be able to approve it, and I should not also be able to pay it. It opens up weaknesses in the system. The other thing is that we need to put data encryption mechanisms whereby our data remains unreadable to people who are not deserving, unauthorized people. In this case, we put encryption at the forefront, whereby we look at what data needs to be encrypted, how does it need to be encrypted, and who can access. These are very important aspects. We see that a majority of companies have implemented what is called a VPN. In full, it's called a virtual private network. It's an extension of the real network, but this enables people who are outside that network to be able to access their resources as if they are part and parcel of that network. We see very many companies have put this in place. Sorry. Have put this in place to enable their remote workers or those people who are working from home to access their network resources as if they are there. We also said we need to do regular backup to a secure location to ensure disaster recovery. The other thing that I need to emphasize is that a majority of us, we are accessing our internal networks from the let's say a cyber cafe, from a public Wi-Fi, from let's say an uncontrolled setting. But we need to look at it from this perspective. How well can I also use these settings from, let's say, from a cyber cafe or a public network, let's say an airport or what, just to mention but a few. What measures do I put in place to ensure that whatever I'm interacting with the device uh, or the corporate network, I still protect the internal assets. That's whereby we have our virtual private networks. And it's important that if we are not in the ICT department, we liaise with them so that they can give us a way through as to how we can implement such. So with effective endpoint management, protects the network resources and prevents security incidents. We've heard of so many incidences of whereby we've heard of security breaches, we've heard of loss of data, we've heard of ransomware. But if we put in place effective strategies, we find ourselves that we have limited the exposure of our organizations and ourselves. Implementing a combination of all these policies, procedures, and software tools ensures that you are secure and you are up to date in case of your endpoints, which we have just explained reduces the risk of data breaches and other security incidents. We heard of very few, not few, but very many incidences whereby corporate networks have been attacked and a lot of data has been lost. We are just silent, but a majority of us have suffered. But it is also important that these things become a learning curve. In the event that we've had failures or lapses within this endpoint management strategy, we fine tune them to a point whereby we are able to live within them by using policies and procedures and tools that limit the security exposure. What we have just mentioned, but a few, but we are going to explain. So what measures can we put in place? We've said we can use strong passwords or paraphrases and enable biometric authentication, which we can say we can use that as a multi-factor authentication, whereby after I have provided my password, there's a phrase that is going to be sent to me. And that phrase can be in my email or through my mobile phone. And another phase can be the use of biometric authentication, whereby you can use your fingerprint, face, or even voice recognition. We've also been encouraged to regularly update our devices and do patches. We've also been told or advised that we only use trusted apps from the stores that have been carefully reviewed. And you also need to review the permission before installing any app. A majority of us, we just say accept, accept, allow, allow, allow. But in the end of it all is that we open up our devices to so many issues. For example, let's say you are told if you want to use application X, you need to allow it to record your conversations. You need to allow it to access your address book. You need it to access your gallery. If it's mandatory, then it's something worth contemplating. But in the case whereby it is not mandatory, you need to think twice about that. Then we need to look at the issue of the type of anti-malware that we are installing on our device. We find that there are those which are free, which can be downloaded from any point. But it is also imperative that you know that the free does not come with all the features that you need to protect your device. So at times it is good to invest in a good application that can give you 365 or 720 view protection of your devices. We also we've discussed about the issue of encrypting sensitive data and the use of VPNs to access when accessing using public Wi-Fi networks. Let's say, for example, you go to Java or you go to, let's say, a cafe, and you find that they have, or the airport in this case, you find that they have given you access to their Wi-Fi. In most cases, it might be protected, yes, but in most cases, you'll find that there are those Wi-Fis that we find open throughout our estates or throughout our environments that we operate in. The danger of this is that it might be open, yes, but this person is able to access your data because they have a direct connection to your device. They'll be able to see all the activities you're doing. Let's say, for example, you have a banking app that you want to maybe pay a bill, or you need to log into that device, to that service. Remember, your data is moving in clear text, meaning everyone can see what you're sending and receiving. So it is very easy for this person to steal your credentials, log in, and wipe your account clean. We are also encouraged to, in the event that we lose our devices or it is stolen, we need to have a kill switch. A kill switch is whereby you have an application which can remote wipe and lock the device. In the case that this person, even if they have stolen this device, it becomes totally useless to them. They cannot access it. They cannot flash it. It's basically just a stone in their possession. We also need to be cautious of phishing attacks, whereby somebody will send you something that is too good to be true on your email or your device. Once you click on it, it opens up a connection to the attacker's machine, and they're able to access your device. Avoid also clicking on suspicious links or downloading attachments from unknown sources. It is something that we need also to put in place. Use secure communication channels for sensitive data, such as encrypted messaging and email. We also need to put in place, and a majority of companies are doing this, using mobile device management of mobile security for users through best practices and policies that promote a security aware culture, that we play a role. It is not the role of just one person to secure the whole entity, but we also play a very important role. In closing, we are going to just run through the things that I've just listed. We have seen the common vulnerabilities. We have outdated software. We have weak passwords, which can be easily guessed, and that is also a very big concern. using unsecured Wi-Fi connection sites, malicious applications. You might download an application innocently, but once it has been installed on your device, it is able to steal sensitive information or provide unauthorized access to the device. Physical theft, we need to secure these our devices from people. Everyone we know, everyone wants to steal something. It is important that we also put our device under lock and key in a way that in the event it is stolen, we've said we are able to remote wipe that device. We've seen that cases whereby you find your device is not does not accept the most recent or most up-to-date operating system. You decide to use an alternate to get to that operating system or that application. A majority of these jailbreaked or rooted devices have bugs in them and pose a security threat to your network. In closing, there are tutorials there which we can use. I believe I'll share this with Simon. You'll be able to go through these videos on YouTube, and you'll be able to get far much more insight whereby it comes to mobile device management. It's well explained. It gives you mobile device management tutorials for beginners. You'll also get best practices for protecting your mobile devices. You'll also get to understand what endpoint management is all about and it entails. You'll also look at the best practices for endpoint management and security. Then you will also get to understand why it matters and how to protect yourself. In conclusion, these measures can be customized on the organization's specific needs and industry regulations. We all have regulators who will tell us you need to adhere to this parameters, where in the case of government entities, when it comes to ICT, you'll find that they take their regulations or compliance from institutions such as the ICT authority. You also need to have an effective endpoint management strategy that should be comprehensive and regularly updated to address new and emerging security threats. With that, I will open the floor for questions, queries, compliments, comments, and also I will give out a small task which will enable you. I want us to try and look at something small, which I'll share with you on the charts, so that it guides you on testing on the strength of your password. As I do that, I open the floor for questions from the team. Thank you. Back to you, Mwachi. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
You can hear me? I think I lost my connection for a second or two. Sorry for that.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah. Yes. So thank you so much. I don't know if I'm trying to check. You know, when you lose connection, the chat section disappears with the questions. I don't know if
I
there are any
can.
questions, but on my side, I think it has disappeared. Yes.
What I've seen is basically you send them to get their webinar CPD, and I shared a password measure, which I want them to go through so that they know the kind of passwords that they are using. And if it is a guide, it will enable them come up with stronger passwords. That is the task that I've given them. And I've seen Hillary Kiprotich Kosgei. Thank you for the heartwarming comments. I welcome you guys to any questions, any queries, or concerns that you want me to address before we close. The floor is all yours.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Arena. I enjoyed the session, save for the technical issue on my end. Thank you, Hillary, for also acknowledging that the session has been informative and the presenter has been clear and detailed. So I hope you have been able to click the link and get the certificate. If it doesn't respond now, wait a few minutes, like 20 minutes or so, and you'll have the certificate activated. Then you can easily download it and increase your CPD points. So with that, I want to appreciate all of us. Thank you, John. John has never, I don't think John has ever missed any of these professional CPD trainings ever since we started them in 2020. So the wealth of experience that he has garnered since 2020 up to the moment, I believe is very solid. And I will encourage that we share with other colleagues and friends that so that they don't miss these sessions. Thank you, Hillary. Also, I'll remember to share the PowerPoint presentation with you in the email addresses that you use to register so that you review, and even the YouTube link so that you can listen the session. So next week we'll be having a session of on retirement. Let me just share with you the link so that you can easily register. We'll be looking at a session on how to living longer in terms of you are not supposed to retire if you are still productive. You're not supposed to retire if you're still productive. So that is a session that is going to be very interesting on May 10th. So you can register for it as early as now. Please share it on your WhatsApp status and let your friends and colleagues join, especially your friends who want to retire, or you have kids and you want them to learn about retirement early so that their future can be secured. This is going to be a very good webinar for them. So in that, all that said and done, I want to thank you so much, Arena, for your dedication. And we hope you'll continue delivering to our clients in similar areas of expertise in upcoming sessions. And thank you also for the audience for joining us. From this time, you are at liberty to switch gears and engage in the afternoon schedules or your personal schedules in the afternoon. Maybe you want to grab lunch or finish reports in the office or follow up. You are free to do that. Otherwise, we appreciate your sacrifice to find time and join us today. Thank you so much and have a good
Simon,
afternoon.
Simon, I've already
Yes,
shared
yes,
with you the slides in
the
case
PowerPoint. Or you have shared
Hillary.
on mail.
Yeah, I've sent it to you.
Thank you. Let me just share it on their email addresses immediately after this.
Sasa. Aya.
Asante sana.
Thank, thank you for your time, guys. I am looking forward to dealing with you so much. I enjoyed, and any in this light, I thank you for your audience. I am humbled, and I look forward to engaging you much more. Thank you.
Thank you too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.